Hello, Jean. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I've been, for about the past 25, 30 years, I've been working with electromagnetic fields and how to reduce their impact on the human nervous system. And I've come up with 7 basic circuits that reflect different aspects of the Earth's electromagnetic field and kind of enable us to come into resonance with the Earth's, basically thereby dissipating the impact of the home electricity and microwave radiation on the human nervous system.
So it does seem like we live in a different kind of a world this past 100 years, actually, with all the electromagnetic frequencies out there.
Mm-hmm.
How does this really affect our bodies and minds?
Well, we chose to run our home electricity on a frequency that is very similar to the frequency that our bodies use, basically between 1 and 10 hertz per second. And so basically that creates a resonance in the home, so that the way electricity is generated is that whenever a magnetic field shifts back and forth, it generates current in any nearby conductor. So by choosing to have our homes have shifting magnetic fields at 60 times a second, it actually creates electric current in our own nervous system that is a stress in the human body. It's a subtle stress, but it's something that we have accepted as a part of just being alive. But it, over time, degrades the nervous system, and I think is at least partially responsible for a lot of the immune deficiency illnesses that people get.
Do you think that our bodies try to entrain with these frequencies? In other words, taking us away from our natural frequency range?
Well, exactly. That's exactly the problem, is that we evolved in relationship to the Earth's electromagnetic field. And that's actually called the Schumann resonance, which is, it's a fascinating concept, because in I think 1976, Schumann discovered that there is a field, a standing field between the Earth, the crust of the Earth, and the ionosphere, which is about 100 miles up. And the ionosphere basically protects us from cosmic radiation or sunspots, but within that cavity, mostly generated by lightning strikes, there is a field that picks up information from everything that's living on the Earth. So when every thought a person has, every action an animal takes, every time a plant grows, anything that happens gets modulated as information into the Schumann resonance. And in the same way, anything that happens in the entire universe, anywhere, gets modulated into the ionosphere. There's some impact on the ionosphere that conveys that information into the field, so that we have evolved in this field throughout human history. And now, within the past, probably around 1900s, 1920, we have now created this artificial system of frequencies that are very close in frequency to the natural, and therefore we entrain to the artificial, the electricity in our homes.
Now the Schumann resonance, that's around 7 or 8 hertz, something like that?
Yeah, 7.8.
Yeah, I've heard that is going up. It's measurably going up this past few years too. So.
Yeah. Well, the Schumann resonance is based upon the circumference of the Earth, which is 24,000 miles, and the speed of light, because you have the lightning strikes, and the frequencies go out at the speed of light, and they go around the Earth 7.8 times per second. And then they meet each other and create a standing wave. So that is, in effect, what generates the Schumann resonance. There's overtones that are also generated. And so it's debatable if the frequency is going up. But I think your point is well taken. What is happening is that the Schumann resonance, or that 7.8, is really a waveguide for a sense of human happiness, being at peace, being at ease in the world. It's similar to meditation, a sense of oneness, of fulfillment. So basically, with all the artificial sources of radiation, whether microwave radiation from cell phone towers or just the electricity in the home itself, all create a higher frequency. They create a distortion of that natural frequency and stop us from resonating to the Schumann resonance.
So realistically, like what could the average person that's at home paying bills, raising kids, what could the average person do to help equalize and bring into some kind of equilibrium these kinds of energies that's entering into their home, their family?
Well, there's two ways to do that, and one of the ways is to block it and to say, well, don't use your cell phone, don't have a router inside your house, keep your computer in this room, to try to block it, or to put aluminum foil on your walls, which is basically the idea of a Faraday cage, or wear special clothes that could block the radiation. But the way EarthCalm works is we've discovered that there's ways to ground the human nervous system to allow the hazardous radiation to exit the body and be grounded into the earth. And so it's like a Tai Chi concept, rather than trying to block it, to actually let it flow through you at the speed of light so that it doesn't harm your own, ability to function.
What do you do on a personal level as far as this technology goes?
Well, actually, the whole technology was developed through trial and error, because I was sick all the time, and I didn't know what the problem was. I had constant headaches and flu, just could never really maintain a high level of functioning. And I was unable to locate what the problem was. Everything I tried had really very little impact. So I finally just started playing around with this concept of grounding myself to the earth. And that actually started to bear some fruit. I started to get relief from my headaches, and I gradually developed these circuits. And as I would wear the circuit or have it on my body, it would allow my body to ground. And as I discovered, it's not so much grounding to the earth as it is grounding to the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's electromagnetic field. So it's kind of different in concept. And it's also, electromagnetic fields carry information. So as I was saying, the Schumann resonance, or the Earth's electromagnetic field, carries the information of the entire Earth in it. And to some extent, by resonating to that information, that becomes available to you on some level. You can demodulate that information as is appropriate for you. And so being grounded to the earth is not just to dissipate the negative, but also to be in communication